Hello, I'm Kerri Konik from Brandscape Atelier, and I'm an emotional resonance expert and a brand identity expert that partners with small business CEOs and startup brands to create brands that resonate emotionally with their target audience so they can grow and make the impact that they came in to make through their business. How to build a brand that resonates. In very, very simple terms, it's about how do you create emotional connection? How do you provide a conversation that is not about product, features, and benefits, but how to generate an emotional response in your audience? Because the brand value lives in the emotional response of others. And the fear is that that's a little bit out of our control as brands. It's actually in their control. But once you understand that, you can actually design brand identity, brand messaging and marketing that has emotional connection as its basis, as its foundation, so that it's very easy to create and elicit emotional response and then develop relationships that will develop over time. I'd like to share one example with you of a clothing company based in New Zealand, which is a brand you may or may not be aware of called Icebreaker. The dress I'm wearing is actually from Icebreaker, and they are a wonderful company that creates clothing out of wool. And what they do in every garment, they stitch in a barcode that you can then go onto the website and read the story about where your garment came from. Meaning, where the sheep, the wool that came from that sheep, from what village, from what area in New Zealand. And you can read the story about the farmer and understand and create this connection between this garment that is a piece of apparel that could have no connection, and they actually tell a whole backstory about how your garment came to be. So what happens is you naturally, as a human being, you assign meaning to that. And I know that sounds maybe a little bit funny, but you absolutely now have a connection to what came before that fiber and that ability to create that dress or that t-shirt. Now, I took a look at the Icebreaker site, right? And when you have that kind of clarity, you're able to say very bold language. Okay, the brand relationship, the brand value lives in language. Okay, it's not in the perception that some people discuss, that it's a perception of your brand. That is something that lives in the head. The resonance and the brand value lives in language, lives in metaphor, and in their heart, in their emotional response. Okay, so here they're saying, I want to get to the point where they show the born in nature. And they talk about the animal, and they talk about nature, and they talk about how they care for the animals. They talk about the farms. And right on the site, you'll say, find your barcode. And it's an Icebreaker, the origin of your garment. So right there, you're actually connecting to what the company stands for. And you're actually forming a connection by learning about the origin of your garment, and you start to care. It is not a choice, it's actually a response, and it's not an intellectual choice, well, I'm going to care where my garment came from. You actually, because of how you're designed as a human being, neurologically, you start to assign meaning to that backstory. And what you might find is you're going to treat your garment differently. You're going to relate to this piece of clothing differently than you relate to just any old t-shirt. It's true, try it. Okay. The other thing is when you have a clear stance of what you believe, and you are able to have a conversation that elicits that belief system, you inspire emotional connection. And then what you could do, once you're clear on your brand identity, you can go ahead and put that right on your messaging and your marketing. So again, here they talk about their product, which are apparel and clothing for men, women, kids, and they have various collections that come out every year. But why Icebreaker? The ethics and all about us as a company. Okay, so right in the beginning, they're looking to establish a connection with you about what they stand for and what you stand for, so that that emotional connection is becomes a brand that resonates. And then when you start desiring to belong to that tribe, to have more products from that company. And you don't want just any old t-shirt that's cotton. You now want a merino wool t-shirt that came from a village in New Zealand. This is how you can create resonance with anything that you create, any of your products, is to get clear about where the emotional pillar lies for you and your target audience. Design something into your brand that allows you to tell that story over and over again, and grow the connection and the sense of community globally with your customers. Okay, have fun doing that, and reach out and let me know how it's going. Have a great week.